Right, golfers, I'm going to use a real golf swing lesson here. So this is a real lesson from the team at JD Golf Academy using measured true facts from their gears system as well as their dual force plates to help you understand golf swings a bit better, hit better shots, and hopefully improve your direction and strike with your irons. Now this student plays off 2, very good player, so we can all learn from each other. Doesn't matter if you're 20 or you're 15 or you're 2. These patterns come through all players. It's just how they handle them is quite interesting. Let's look at the 2 players. And I say 2 players, a bit confusing. It's 1 player, but it looks like 2 players because it is so different. And what we see is the first swing when this 1 player came in was quite across the line at the top, and then they got him to actually get his club feeling more laid off, which we'll talk about how to do that and why you might want to do that. And then in turn on the downswing, we saw a steepening of the shaft from their first swing, which encouraged a higher handle impact with a toe flipping over. So toe hitting the ground, not so great for consistent strikes, toe flipping over. The player complained of turning shots left. But look, you could be a slicer across the line at the top. Some golfers steepen it and go this way and then hit it. It's a similar pattern to what we're going to see. Getting this golfer to change their backswing, which makes them look like 2 different golfers, but it's 1 golfer, I didn't make that clear at the start, will absolutely allow you to just let the downswing kind of fall into place and hopefully start hitting some straighter shots. So how did the team at JD Golf Academy make such a huge change to this player? Bear in mind, they're a 2 handicapper. They hit the ball really well already. Sometimes they're harder to change than worse players who are more willing to embrace change. So first thing they did is they checked the range of movement in this player's body. This is such an interesting message. So this player didn't have great extension in trail shoulder. They weren't able to bend their trail shoulder back this way very well. So they were kind of a bit here. And if you think about the over the top action, the more I have my arm going out this way, the easier it is to get this kind of backswing. Now remember, you could be someone like this player who then steepens the shaft, raises the handle, flips the toe. That was their pattern. But if you're someone watching this thinking, well, I don't worry with less, rights is what I struggle with, same problem. So if you're kind of cross the line at the top and then you just rotate out of it and start straightening that shaft up, that's when you see that action. So it's all very similar. So they actually gave the students some exercises to try and loosen up this part of their shoulder to allow them to start trying to get into some better positions. But what you can see is they still got them into better positions even with that restriction of movement, because it's a bit chicken and egg if you think about it. They have a restriction with their arm that way. Well, do they have that because they've swung the golf club for years off 2? They've obviously been playing a while where they don't even try and put any strain, any stretch in this part of their shoulder. And if you don't do any other exercises in life that make you do this, which to be fair is most of us, then your body will just learn to seize up in the areas it needs to seize up as we get older. So by this player actually trying to get extension in trail shoulder, might even do the movement they need, the freedom of movement on its own. But obviously putting those exercises in there might just force the issue and resist any kind of tears, rips, horrible kind of injuries that could happen as well. So understanding your body, working on your fitness, working on how you move, your range of movements is so key often to understanding why people move the golf club the way they do. So first swing idea, if you're someone who is struggling with a little bit this way and you're either coming over the top or standing shaft up and you flip it a little bit, which is often the good players' equivalent of that. So if they're across the line at top, bad players tend to go this way, higher handicappers, and slice it. Good players manage it by going, okay, I'll steepen the shaft, handle up, and then I'll try and manage the face. And they're good players, so they often can manage it, but they then have these misses. So the big breakthrough comes from trying to get this player to get their trail shoulder to be able to move this way a lot more. Great drill to do that. Trail hand only, so I've got my right hand on only. I'm going to top of my backswing and stop, and I am going to try and spear the back wall with the butt end of the club. So if I'm across the line at the top, one hand only tends to get a bit this way, club spears this way, or if it does spear, it's shooting off that way. I want to be spearing that wall there. So what I'm going to do is start really bending my trail wrist back. So really getting that wrist extending back this way. And then at the same time, I'm going to feel this shoulder, trail shoulder's opening up a little bit here. This stays under, trail hand a little bit more. I feel like I'm really getting the butt end of that club back. This is great for getting that club more kind of towards the target rather than so across or even laid off, which for this golfer allowed them to get that club shallowing a bit more on the way down, which then allowed them just to turn through it a little bit more and manage the face feeling this way rather than managing a face that was having to be flipped, bearing in mind the handle was coming up so high. And here's the other great reason why I love showing these real lessons rather than just kind of made up YouTube, do these fixes and you'll be a better golfer. These are real people making real changes. Is you change something in the way back and then that just clicked on the way down. Their downswing just fell into place. Their club face control fell into place. And that's often the beauty with real golf lessons, is that sometimes it's like dominoes. You only have to knock one over and they all start falling into place for lots of golfers, because all the movements we make throughout the golf swing are so intertwined with each other. By focusing on this player's backswing to start, absolutely move the needle on the downswing, which then in turn move the needle on impact, and that's all that really matters. That's what they're trying to move, impact, needle moving to help this player get the scratch. So butt end of the club to that back wall, really feel that trail wrist leaning back. Try not to use your trail elbow that much, but keep it tucked in. So you don't want it going out, which will push it over this way. And then with that feeling in place, you could really start to work that into a few shots and see if that does move the needle with face control. See if that does move the needle, getting you to turn a bit better rather than steepening, raising, woohoo, flipping. Drill number 2, you need to make sure you're warm for this. You should make sure you're warm for everything, but make sure this trail shoulder has some movement. Make sure it's warmed up, because you're going to do one arm swings where you put a little bit of pressure, a little bit of stretch into this region. So holding down the handle with my trail hand, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stand up a little taller than I normally would. See how the club's not on the ground. And I'm going to swing as fast as I can into the backswing, but I'm going to keep hips and shoulders relatively forward facing. I'm not going to turn them anywhere near I would with a golf swing. What I'm going to do is practice opening up trail shoulder. So I'm going to try and keep elbow tucked in this way. I'm going to allow trail wrist, like the first drill, to fold back. So I feel like the butt end of the club is spearing back wall, but rather than letting my shoulders dictate that, which can get you a little bit again where this player was, I'm actually just opening shoulder up. I'm trying to keep shoulder really steady, and if you can't, just stand bolt upright, makes it easier. And really try and get that club stretching back. Go as fast as you can without doing any damage, but what happens with a little bit of speed, so putting a little bit of pace in, oh yeah, I can feel, I can feel that in my trail shoulder. It starts opening up. It's like stretching me out each one. Don't go too quick and don't go too heavy. So shorter iron if you feel like it's going to hurt, and slow it down if it feels like it's going to hurt too much. Go as fast as you can, trying to butt end of the club back wall, not turn shoulders that much, and really open up this part of your shoulder, this part, really trying to get that to open up, because what that is going to do for so many of you is allow you to get the width on the way back that you need to actually drop the club where you want it to drop. So if you're someone who goes across the line at the top, steep and slices, this is so handy. This kind of width that you create will allow you now to drop that club on a better path on the way down. And number 2, what we saw from the better player, just by having a more sensible run up where they did keep this shoulder engaged more, got it moving this way, and got the trail wrist engaged more, is that we then saw, like I said, the dominoes fall where they didn't have to think of the downswing. They didn't even have to think about impact, again, because they're a better player, and it just moved all into place. 2 drills can really help you open up trail shoulder, which will open up better control of face and path, allowing for straighter, more consistent shots, as well for many more consistent strikes, which will move the needle on your scores. Now, if you want to find out how to hit the driver better and a bit longer, this video's got all the information to help you do that.